In 2017, Disney brought out The Last Jedi, and it would have to be one of the most decisive Star Wars films throughout the fandom. You have people who think it's a cinematic masterpiece, and you have others who think it's a terrible film and shouldn't be considered canon. I personally thought it was a very good film that told a really good story inside of the Star Wars universe. Is it the best? No. Is it the worst? Absolutely not. So today I'm going to give my take and explain why I thought The Last Jedi is a good movie. Now I'm going to start off with the storyline. Now after The Force Awakens, people said that they enjoyed it but wanted a more original story. And I thought, fair enough. Maybe Disney do need to make a new story and change things up a bit. And well, that's exactly what they did. They made a new story that was different to really anything that was seen in a Star Wars film before. Of course, they could have just made a rehash of The Empire Strikes Back, but they're better than that. I really enjoyed watching a crumbling resistance holding on to a string of hope as they're being taken down by the strong First Order, and Leia minding the loss of all the people around her, still hoping that her brother will come to the rescue. And we haven't really seen the good guys losing this bad before in Star Wars. Now, we think that a brave Luke will come down and destroy the First Order, but instead we have a scared old man living alone, considering if he should let the Jedi end. Now, Luke's character in this film was great. I know it's a bit different from what was seen in the original trilogy, but that's what you would expect of him after he's made all of these mistakes and he's afraid of teaching Rey after Ben Solo turned to the dark side, and he thinks that Rey might do the same. I know that it's not what people were expecting, but you don't want to walk into a film knowing exactly what's going to happen, because what's the fun in that? Some people thought that Luke's character was mistreated in this film, but I'd have to partially disagree with that. Because I do think that all of the characters had room to grow and develop from the original trilogy and from the last movie, especially the new characters like Rey, Finn, Poe, and Kylo Ren. And their character development went in at different ways that was not overly predictable. And talking about predictability, let's talk about the really good twists and reveals in this film. Now, in The Force Awakens, they set up a lot of unanswered questions, like who were Rey's parents and who was Snoke. And they actually gave us a very strange twist and revealed that none of these things are actually important. Rey's parents are no one, and Kylo Ren kills Snoke. Now, of course, Snoke could have made this big reveal about who he is, but that wouldn't have affected the characters in any way, and the story. And plus, no one cares where he came from. Take Palpatine, for example. Now, he's such a cool villain, but no one cared where he came from. Same as the other characters in the originals. Not everything needs an explanation. Can you just imagine Snoke sitting there and explaining his whole backstory? I think they had the guts to actually make these unanswered storylines not important, and actually made for maybe a better film. I know it might have been a little disappointing, but at least it was unexpected. And plus, who knows if these actual questions had answers? I mean, until they throw it away in The Rise of Skywalker. Now, there are also many individual things in this film that I also liked. I enjoyed watching the lightsaber battles, like the showdown between Luke and Kylo Ren, and the throne room scene. These scenes were done really well and definitely added something to the movie. A lot of the character development was also done really well, and a lot of the times throughout the movie I actually thought that Rey was going to join Kylo Ren, and I like how Rey is tempted by the dark side and Kylo Ren is tempted by the light side. But instead they both just double up on their original sides. They also did little small respectful nods to the original, like the hologram of Leia, Han's golden dice, and the conversation with Luke and Yoda. These scenes were done really well, and luckily they didn't bombard the film with lots of unnecessary references like The Force Awakens did. They just tried to make it its own film. You can really tell that Rian Johnson was trying to make a really good, compelling Star Wars movie that was both enjoyable and bold. It's just a shame that all of his hard work really didn't pay off. But I do acknowledge when a film does take risks and does something new. He did a good job of introducing all of these new worlds and characters and new story elements that fit really nicely into the overarching story of Star Wars. Now, is this film perfect? Absolutely not. I'm not going to be one of those people who tries to defend the movie and protect everything that's wrong with it. Now, there are a few things in this movie that I do think could have been handled a little bit better, like the casino scene. Now, I don't mind the whole storyline with Finn and Rose, but I do think it does take the story a bit off track. Because even though the casino is definitely something new and something we haven't really seen before, I don't think it fits really well into the story. And it actually might have been better if Finn went with Poe on this mission instead of Rose, because I think they kind of wasted Finn in this movie. I think it would have been better if they gave him more of a story arc because he's such a cool character, but I do like Rose. Now, of course, this movie does have a lot of other plot holes in it, but I'm not even going to touch on those because every movie has plot holes. Even the original trilogy has a bunch of mistakes. And this movie is literally about space wizards with lasers. It doesn't need to be any lore to it, because I don't think the average viewer actually notices these mistakes. Because when I first saw this movie, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a fresh new take on the Star Wars universe that told an amazing story. But I don't think people hating on this movie is the movie's fault, because fans had expectations for this movie, and when they don't come true, they start to get angry about how they mistreated the characters and the Star Wars universe. Are people taking it way too far with hating this movie? Yes. There was literally a petition to scrap The Last Jedi from the official Star Wars canon list and to remake it from scratch. And this is just crazy. It's actually a bit annoying. Sure, you can hate on a film, but when you take it this far, it can actually start to ruin the film for other people who actually might have liked it. Critics and a lot of other people might like the film because they don't actually have a big connection to the characters, like myself, and see the film as just a fun adventure film. I do like how the movie did take a lot of dangerous risks, and unfortunately they didn't pay off. And that means they're not going to really take any more risks with the movies and play it safe, and that's what they did with The Rise of Skywalker. Overall, I thought this movie was really good. It told a great story and developed the Star Wars universe and characters really well, and I liked how they were bold with their storylines and decisions, and that's why I liked it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to comment down below of what you thought of The Last Jedi. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and give this video a big thumbs up, and I'll see you next Friday.